Usually I'm not the type of person who's into romance anime. Everything feels so cookie cutter with its formulaic patterns of misunderstandings, blushing, and overall immaturity from the characters, until I saw Love Through a Prism. This 20-episode romance anime is produced by WIT Studio and directed by Yoko Kamio, the author of Boys Over Flowers, one of the most influential shoujos ever. The anime left me speechless with how it subverted my typical romance feel for anime, while incorporating intricate character writing and a beautiful coming-of-age story. I'm Shisui from Philly, here to explain the beauty that is Love Through a Prism. Our story takes place around early 1910s England, when Lili Ichijoin finds herself with a simple objective from her mother: become the #1 artist in St. Thomas Art Academy in 6 months, or else go back to Japan and take over the family business. She gets lost and finds this incredible artist by the port, quickly sketching a pigeon like it's no one's business. Yet he seems so out of touch with reality and consequences. He acknowledges her with charcoal bread and eventually leads her to the place she's looking for. Turns out this person, Kit Church, is the #1 artist, and she has to surpass him. By the way, this is your final chance to dip, as I will spoil stuff that doesn't happen in episode 1 in about a few seconds. So if this synopsis interests you, get on to Netflix, give the show a shot. Please, I hella recommend it. If not, all good. Let's get back to it. One of the main things this anime does amazing at is giving each of their main characters not only personalities and interesting traits, but also give each of them character arcs, making it feel like a real coming-of-age story, like I'm actually looking at a life through someone's lens. One thing that most romance anime or most romantic relationships like to do is focus on the romance aspect and throw away character development and traits in favor of misunderstanding scenes and unnecessary blushing scenes. While this anime has its fair share of those tropes, it spends more of its time taking the romance at face value and seeing how the main cast takes away from that situation. The initial objective of trying to be the #1 artist easily could have been the main focal point of the show, if they really wanted to, honestly. But they use that as a motivator for Lily to even interact with Kit in the first place. Same with the other characters like Peter, someone who feels like a failure when many of his friends are doing better than him, despite constantly practicing. Someone like Catherine, who struggles to discern what she was forced into as something she was made to do, while neglecting what she truly is into. And Joffrey or Dorothy, people who struggle to pinpoint where their passions are in life and find art as a method of expressing that passion. Many of these one-off characters in other romance animes can cast aside, but here in this setting, you can see them shining in great character writing. On the note of setting, I love the setting of the story. The mid-1910s feels like the best time period to set the story in. Not only does it help with establishing certain plot points, mainly the dukes and the royalty aspects, it also makes the First World War dilemma an actual problem they cannot overcome. It makes the heritage of Shin, Lily, and Sakura have a lot more credibility and necessity to the plot, rather than just being a fun fact they leave to the character. The animation for England is also simply breathtaking. Netflix does one thing right when it comes to any anime they create, and it's the animation, and making everything look as fluid as it can possibly be. It also enhances my overall enjoyment of the artist being awestruck with this environment, because I'm awestruck to see them being awestruck by this beautiful thing. For example, when Kit and Lily see the initial field of lilies towards the beginning and the end of the story, I was astonished by how it looked, and I understood why they felt that way. You know what I mean? Keeping on the topic with the story and story plot, I think the story is really good for a romance anime. It flows in a natural way to where nothing feels forced, and it feels like a natural progression of what the characters are experiencing. For example, Lily's growth as an artist, the reveal that Kit is the son of a rich, high-ranking diplomat, the dance, Catherine's arc into the war feels all natural, honestly, and it doesn't feel like comes out of nowhere a lot of these points. Like, you could say the reveal for Kit maybe might be a little out of nowhere, but they drop subtle hints that he's more than he seems. It's also just an interesting story. It really doesn't feel like the characters are going to have their happy ending for a long while. And none of it felt rushed, like I said earlier, to where I was dissatisfied. I have seen some people say the ending should have been fleshed out a little more, but with the way the story was handled, I feel like there wasn't really much they could have done with the ending, except maybe like an epilogue of sorts. Maybe like one episode epilogue where they actually like have a romance. But other than that, I love what they did here. I think it's really good story for a romance. I was genuinely shocked, honestly. Lastly, I want to discuss the main love triangle quote unquote, between Kit, Shin, and Lili, and this love triangle subverted and exceeded my expectations of the typical love triangle in every way possible. Lili and Kit's relationship towards each other never really felt like love at first. Lili was fascinated by Kit's ability to draw and sketch at an immaculate rate, not because he seems like a love interest, but as an obstacle that she challenges herself to reach and surpass. Kit's entire world was being an artist, sketching, and seeing the world through art, until Lili showed him that life is a lot more colorful and warm than he thought. Shin gets introduced about episode 4, as another rival for Lili initially, but the story encompasses one big thing. Art is their livelihood. Initially, Lili and Shin do art to get better and better and eventually become some of the top students in the school. Then, through Kit's influence, they learn to appreciate and love what they are creating, their own art. Towards the end, when Kit had his supposed death and they were forced to go back to Japan, they had married, and while they loved each other, there was something off with the both of them. I mean, you could tell something's off because everything is gray now, and honestly, I love when stories do that. Like, I love when it's just like it changes the entire background of the story. I love when they do that. However, when Kit returns miraculously, Lili suddenly realizes the impact that Kit had on her life, not only romantically, but for her overall view of how she sees her art, not as something that she does to be better than others, but something to be proud of, a messenger of creativity to the world, especially during a time of war and depression. And while Shin and Lili did love each other, they were not meant for each other. They were meant for greater opportunities, rather than staying stuck in Japan, which I love that for a love triangle. I love that a love triangle, like one love interest, one romance means that they have to stick together, stay in Japan forever, while the other, the right one, is they both get to express their creative liberties, but Lili does it with Kit and Shin does it on his own. And honestly, I love that. I just love that for them. They explore the world, pursuing their creative liberties, finding out what life really is meant to be. And that is something that Kit brought out of both of them, that they couldn't have together. It's such a beautiful realization when Lili creates her first painting in years and everything goes from black and white to colors. Just a beautiful message disguising itself as a romance. It's just wow. Just wow, man. I simply cannot recommend this show more than I am right now. I think it's, even though it's not perfect 10 out of 10, mainly because Lili in the earlier episodes is a little bit annoying, but nothing too crazy, I think it's simply being very much overlooked right now. And I want more people to know about its existence. So if you're looking for a romance anime with actual depth, interesting characters, a really decent love triangle, and as a coming of age story, you're in luck pretty much. And with that, I thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want more content from me. You don't have to, but it would mean the world to me. It would be a lot, please. And until next time, I shall see you later. Deuces.